Anyone got any jokes?
Yeah.
Ian?
There was a very good cartoon of two people arguing, and one of them was shouting wag at the other one, and the other one was shouting MILF at the other one, and someone saying, oh, it's all getting very acronymous.
Well, the other day, I cracked a joke, and this lady asked me, she said, have you always been funny? And I said, well, they told me that when I was born, as soon as I was delivered, the first thing I said was, whew, tough womb.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Jo Brand in a truly historic week as Lidl dropped the price of Tunnock's tea cakes to 17 pence. In the news this week, previously unseen footage reveals where Gordon Brown got the idea to reappoint Peter Mandelson. Of Cape Town, Nelson Mandela shows that even at the age of 90, he has no intention of slowing down. And on Strictly Come Dancing, in a desperate bid to win viewers' votes, John Sargent decides to perform the bossa nova wearing only a thong. I have to say, actually, Brucey did a joke about me the other week, saying that I'm the spitting image of John Sargent. Obviously very flattered by being compared to a balding man. Still, I suppose it could have been Prescott. On Ian Hislop's team tonight is a journalist recently described in The Guardian as everyone's favourite tosser. Once again, Jeremy Clarkson cruelly overlooked. Please welcome Toby Young. And with Paul Merton tonight is an Alabama-born comedian about whom a journalist once wrote, he could seduce you by reading out his gas bill. Ha, no chance. Although if he paid my gas bill... Please welcome Reginald D. Hunter.
I just want to interject. Alabama is the state next to where I was born. I was born in Georgia. Ever since Tuesday, there's going to be some changes around here, man.
In round one, we covered the biggest stories of the week. Have a look at this.
Oh, it's the big election in Scotland. That's Gordon Brown's wife. She's voting. That isn't. That's the new guy. That isn't. It's America, isn't it? It's a historic night. Bye-bye to you. Must be very confusing for Bush, because he just does this and everyone cheers. Why? You're going.
I don't really understand what all the fuss is about. I mean, I think I'm the only person in the world who's noticed that Barack Obama isn't black. He's beige. I mean, why is America engaging in this orgy of self-congratulation?
What do you think, Reg? Do you think he's black? What do you reckon?
Thank you for asking, Paul.
Yeah.
Saw you there. Black people, he black enough. I mean, his father was black and he split, so that's black enough for us.
So, did you all stay up and watch it?
No, I didn't know. But I assumed that the morning's papers would be full of it. And indeed they were. I thought this is a story that's going to go away overnight, you know. They're going to tell everybody at 3 o'clock and then move on. No, I thought this was definitely going to run. But I was interested... Sarah Palin, I'm very interested in her. Bizarrely, when she voted, somebody asked her, which way did you vote? And she said, I'm not telling you.
I think, actually, we've got...
Have you got that?
We've got that, yes.
I am also exercising my right to privacy, and I don't have to tell anybody who I vote for. Nobody does, and that's really cool about America also.
Has anybody ever been more obviously ready for a job at Fox News? I mean, and I mean, she should cash in now.
Yeah.
She shouldn't run no more, go for no more office. She shouldn't run for politics and nothing like that. She should do a cookbook, the line of lingerie, a book about how tough it is being a woman or something. Anything, man.
So who stayed up and watched it?
David Dimbleby stayed up.
Can we just have a look at David
Yes.
Dimbleby? Because there was a particularly exciting bit coming up where he's trying to inject some excitement by counting down to a declaration from the key states.
So we're coming up with a few seconds to go before those polls close. This is the US election night on the BBC. And sometimes we have an immediate result, but we don't even have one for West Virginia to call now, which McCain was hoping to take, the mountain state of West Virginia. We have nothing to call. So, what do you read into that, Larry?
That wasn't actually the only low point of the night for poor David. Who else, do you know, gave him a particularly hard time?
Gore Vidal.
Yeah, boy, go Vidal ain't no joke, boy.
He seemed to be complaining about the fact he'd been asked to do an interview.
Well, at his age, it's pretty rude.
Yeah.
I think
Gets
what
him on
happened was
television.
they asked him to do an interview later, and he forgot, and then he got pissed, and then he went, oh, hell, I'll do it anyway.
Well, should we see what he said? It was great.
Are you saying you thought that there would be dirtier tricks played in this campaign than materialized in reality? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what you're saying that I'm saying. Would you do it again?
Yes, I'm saying you said that you expected something worse to happen. Are you saying you expected the Republicans, in order to remain in power, to pull tricks during this campaign, which in the end didn't materialize?
I hinted at that. I hinted at that. I thought you would take the hint and not take it as a statement of reality.
Why a statement of reality?
I don't know why you would, because I don't know who you are.
Well, I know who you are, Mr. Vidal.
He's like, I'm old, it's after 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to give a damn about you. I mean, he was beautiful, man. I mean, I want a poster of Gore Vidal, man. Put that over my bed.
What did top American pollster John Zogby of Zogby International say on Tuesday?
He said it was a historic election because for the first time in living memory, the Republican candidate had polled less votes than the Democrat and still didn't go on to become president of the United States.
Where did that come from? He apparently said anything can happen in the next 36 hours. Is it likely to happen? No. And what was the message on all the banners of Obama's supporters?
Yes, we can.
Change we can believe in, even more change, some change for homeless people.
Change we need. Do they not know how to order a sentence? I always said we need change, might have been a bit better. Why have they said that?
It's more oratorical, isn't it? Change we need. It's all in the rhythm, the music of Obama's delivery.
How about being a bit medieval and going, change need we?
That's good.
That would have been good, wouldn't it?
More of a question, though. You've got to be definite in politics.
Oh, I see, OK.
There could have been coin-operated toilets and it would have been, need we change?
It's a brilliant strategy for campaigning because there's nobody who feels like it's all good. I don't want shit to change. I like everything exactly the way it is. So if you say we need change, who's going to go against that?
Some areas.
Still missing the Empire?
Yeah. I'm still missing the Roman Empire.
How did the Democrats try to remove Obama's colour from the campaign?
The clever poster in which they reversed the ethnic identities of each of the two candidates.
It was indeed. Let's have a shifty at that.
John John McCain looks like somebody you'd see on a packet of rice.
And Obama looks like a corporate pimp.
I don't want to vote for either one of those two.
How much time did McCain and Bush spend together during the 21 months of the campaign?
7.5 minutes.
12 minutes, apparently.
He's
Wow.
the first president in history who hasn't campaigned, though.
Do you think the Republicans thought that perhaps he wouldn't be an electoral asset?
If McCain had used some of Bush's original techniques, he'd have won.
What, cheating?
Yeah. Apparently he wanted the election to be fair.
Old-fashioned.
Did anyone see Bush's handover speech? Let's have a look.
Some of you may be anxious about finding a new job or a new place to live. I know how you feel.
76 days left. That's an awful lot of time.
Still time to bomb Iran.
And find it.
Do you know what George Bush said to Obama after he won?
Put my luggage in the back.
Actually, because you're not completely black, just leave it on the front seat, that'll be fine.
He said, congratulations, go and enjoy yourself. Yes, because it's not as if he's left him with any problems to deal with. There we go. Now, the Vice President-elect is Joe Biden, and we didn't hear much from him during the campaign. Why is that?
Has he got Tourette's? We'd have some very funny footage then, wouldn't we? Like he doesn't and we don't.
Apparently, he has a reputation for making gaffes. For example, here's Senator Chuck Graham. He's a wheelchair user, as you can see, and here's Joe Biden giving him a name check from the podium.
And I also am told that Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up, Chuck. Let me see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about? I tell you what, you make everybody else stand up there, Tom. Thank you very, very much. I tell you what, stand up for Chuck.
Perhaps we won't miss George Bush quite so much as well, after all. What was the first decision Obama made as president-elect?
Oh, this is about the mat, the rug that appears in the Oval Office. Apparently, every American president has to decide what the pattern is or something, or what's weaved into the design.
Before the rug.
Before the rug?
Was it to buy his daughters a puppy?
It was indeed, yes, to get a new puppy for his daughters to
puppies
take
and rugs don't go together particularly well.
I had to think, though, when he said, you know, Daddy's going to get you a puppy, I'm going to get you a puppy. Imagine his oldest daughter thought, well, you know, 2 years of having my life invaded by Secret Service, reporters, you know, tutors, I can't go to class without, you know, a whole bunch of mess. A puppy. I mean...
Anyway, President Obama will have to get used to the increased level of public scrutiny. From now on, all his calls will be monitored. Although it never seemed to bother Lyndon Johnson. Here he is talking to his tailor about his trousers.
Now, another thing, the crotch down where your nuts hang is always a little too tight. So when you make them up, give me an inch that I can let out there, because they cut me. They're just like riding a wire fence. You never do have much margin there. Let's see if you can't leave me about an inch from where the zipper ends down under my back to my bunghole.
That's just like a Southern man going through all that length just to let you know he got big nuts.
That apparently was released under the freedom of too much information. Now, Reg, you're from the Deep South. It stayed pretty solidly Republican. Why is that, then?
Except for the black people who live there, it's real racist.
That's a good answer.
Thank you, baby.
Is a black president more of a role model than a black Formula One champion?
Well, I think on the whole, yes, because the black president hasn't said he's going to go and live in someone else's country to avoid tax.
Wherever Lewis Hamilton is from, they're going to name a road after him, and somebody, the Hamilton Road, and somebody wrote into the paper saying, surely Hamilton Drive's a much better idea. It's quite amusing.
Actually, Lewis Hamilton has much more in common with a Republican president because he came 5th but still won.
Well, there was actually another earth-shatteringly important election this week. Where was that?
Glenrothes in Scotland. Britain's gone Glenrothes mad. People dancing in the streets. It's unbelievable. They've queued for hours to vote.
They sent in a big gun. Who was that?
Prescott.
It was indeed. Now, did you see what he got up to in his documentary on class this week?
It has become much more stratified and it's much more sophisticated, but people are aware there are differences. Class is still deep inside our people.
I'm afraid that's how white people dance, Reg.
I know it gets worse. You should have sex with him.
So, yes, it is a historic week as the world hails its first black president of the United States. Touchingly, the new president-elect has promised his kids that they can have a puppy. Curiously, Gordon Brown also gave his kids a treat when he became Prime Minister. They got some extra salt on their porridge. And so to round two, some of the smaller stories of the week. Here's some footage. Buzz when you know what the story is.
Is it the return of Pinky and Perky?
No.
I know they're dogs and they're pigs, but...
Oh, is it about the rings of Saturn? I know you haven't got the picture of the rings of Saturn, you've got the dogs there. Picking up on Ian's theory. This makes it a very hard quiz if it's a picture about something that you haven't got footage of.
I know.
Oh, I know. Is it the interest rate cut?
Yeah.
Give us a clue.
Government.
Government.
Oh, yeah.
Of...
Oh, yes, there's advice on how you'd have to look after your pet. The government's brought out a thing. This is what you must do to your dogs, this is what you do to your cat. Microwave, cross through it, cat fine. So don't put the two together. So, yeah, so basically what they've done is they've discovered that sort of they're telling people how to look after pets.
That's right. Here's some advice they offered, right? If you live in a tall building, ensure that the windows and balconies are cat-proof to prevent your cat falling off. If your dog eats too much and exercises too little, it'll put on weight. And apparently, bears generally prefer a wooded area in which to shit. So, which pets require most entertainment?
Budgies.
No. Cats, dogs and donkeys, apparently.
Having a donkey would be difficult because the size of the flap in the back door would have to be enormous, wouldn't it?
Almost as big as the back door, really.
Yeah. You might as well give it a key to the back door.
And that's the problem because they have hooves.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you can't handle no key if you got hooves. So basically, you might as well not give them a key, take the door out, and make the whole thing a big old flap.
Yeah. You might as well live outside with a donkey.
I would entertain a donkey by constantly teasing him about not being good enough to be a horse.
Moving on, does anyone want to see a hairless sphinx?
Ooh. This is a new breed of cat, isn't it?
Look at them. They've got really sad eyes.
You'd be sad if you were hairless. Well, anyway.
Staying with cats, what new invention has been in the news?
A computer for cats.
No.
A mouse? No. I don't know. Why didn't you tell us?
Oh, it's a cat cam.
A cat cam?
It's a camera that attaches to a cat's collar
that's
so that
great.
the owners can see what it's been up to during the day. And obviously the resulting film has proved thrilling for cat owners.
Yeah.
Across the country, they get to see what their own legs look like. And what cows look like at an angle.
I think that's fantastic. I'd certainly have it. If I had a cat, I'd certainly put a camera on it.
Have you not got a cat?
No, I haven't got a camera. But I'm intending to buy both tomorrow. At a shop that specialises in things that begin with C. I might get a cagoule while I'm at it. That's okay.
OK, this is the news, astonishingly kept off the front pages, that the government has issued a new code of practice for pet owners. It includes basic rules for keeping pets, such as don't let them go to the toilet in the same room they eat, don't let them beg at the table, and try to keep them indoors at night. Sounds like my wedding vows. The BBC News website was inundated with comments on the story. One, Mrs T from Bristol, asked, does the guidance say how to stop my neighbour's cat from doing number 2s in my garden? Good news, Mrs T, you're not the owner. You can use a flamethrower. One cat lover has gone even further this week. Eager to know what her cat did all day, she attached a small digital camera to its collar.
Brilliant.
When she watched it back, there was footage of the neighbour's tree, a ball of wool, and, curiously, her husband's buttocks writhing around with the au pair, saying, I can't do it while the cat's watching. Fingers on Buzz's teams. Here's a quote from a news story. Buzz, when you know what it is. The minister has refused to resign, despite producing a certificate full of typing errors, garbled English and misspellings.
It's the Interior Minister of Iran. He's been forced to resign because he claimed to have a degree from Oxford. Can you imagine that happening in this country? Say a senior figure in the Conservative Party who became a lord and then went to prison, claiming to have been at Oxford when he wasn't, when he was at a teacher training college up the road. Can you imagine how much we'd laugh?
Who are you thinking of?
It's gone.
Do you know his name? Ali Cordan.
Ali Cordan. I kept thinking it was Jeffrey Archer. So he's had to go, hasn't he?
Indeed. I mean, what other clues were there that the degree might not be genuine?
Did it have 25 yards breaststroke crossed out?
Well, apparently Mr Cordan released a copy of his degree certificate where the word entitle was written as in-title. Actually on the certificate. There we go. And the certificate also stated that Mr Ali Cordan has opened a new chapter, not only in our university, but to our knowledge, in this country, an honorary doctorate of law in order to be benefited from its scientific privileges.
Do you think we got it off the internet?
Maybe. I mean,
Did your degree not say that? Tacked on to the end of mine.
Well, I went to Brunel and my degree certificate said, well done, not as thick as we thought. So... I mean, it is actually quite convincing,
that was a first,
this one.
then, was it?
It was a first. You got a first for just not being pissed all the time, which is... I mean, Ali Cordan's is quite convincing. He might have got away with it if the certificate hadn't been accompanied by a glowing reference from Inspector Morse. Anyone here of a faked a qualification, Toby? Surely.
Afraid not.
I've got a rather dodgy pilot's licence. Breaks me out into a cold sweat every time I sit in the cockpit. Got no idea what I'm doing.
This is a true story. I got a letter from the admissions office of the college I'd applied for at Oxford by mistake, admitting me to the college. And then I got another one saying I hadn't got in, and I rang up the admissions tutor and he said, well, which one did you get first? And I said, well, the one implying I got in. And he said, OK, you can come.
Fantastic.
So is there another Toby Young who didn't get in?
I never got a letter from Oxford University. Maybe that was the one that was sent to you.
Paul Merton was crossed out at the top.
Yeah. Come along, don't you know?
Yeah, it's not who you know, it's who your postman is.
Yeah.
Reg, have you ever faked?
Only in dating. I told this woman one night that I was Barack Obama's cousin. And it worked because we had sex, and if you looking at home, baby, I ain't want you to find out like this.
You can say you still are, you can say you are, you can say you are. So you don't know,
Yeah. I'm his second cousin, brother.
Fingers on buzzers, what's the story here?
This is a leprechaun, and obviously the real leprechauns are much smaller than that. Somebody called somebody else a leprechaun, and that was then considered racist, and it went to court, and then they decided it wasn't racist to call somebody a leprechaun.
Are you saying leprechaun?
Leprechaun.
As opposed to a leprechaun? Leprechaun, like C-O-R-N.
You say leprechaun, I say leprechaun.
Take the notice of him, he's trying to get on the X Factor. No,
it's what I've always wanted, it's my dream. It means everything to me.
Yeah, it means everything to him.
Everything.
It means everything to him. They're nasty little buggers, you know. They won't let you near the pot of gold near the rainbow. They say they will, but they won't.
And it was actually a Liverpudlian, Annalisa Tucker, faced a trial after calling her Irish neighbour a f***ing leprechaun. Her defence lawyer claimed she was simply talking about a leprechaun she'd seen featured in a film. Didn't know there was a new Tom Cruise movie out.
They're quite mischievous, aren't they? They do things like put horses' legs around the wrong way, so when they walk off, they fall over. See, if you had a cat cam, you could see the leprechauns doing this. It's the same height. Why don't we put cameras on the cats? It's the best idea I've ever heard.
Yeah, boy. Man, you like Martin Luther King, man. You got a dream, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll take 40 years, but one day I want to see every cat with a camera on its head.
The Daily Mail has very helpfully investigated irritating leprechaun habits, right?
Oh, that's good of them.
I hate to bring this up, but they don't exist.
Apparently they ride sheepdogs in the night, leaving them dirty and exhausted.
We've all done that, haven't we?
So, this is the news that it's not racial abuse to call your neighbour a leprechaun. Some say that leprechauns don't exist, but I always tell my children that if they wish hard enough, they can see one being a judge on the X Factor. It's OK, that's not racist, Louis, you great fairy. In the leprechaun sense, of course. Meanwhile, Jeremy Clarkson has kept the BBC press office busy by making a joke about lorry drivers murdering prostitutes. Some lorry drivers are so angry at the BBC, they've threatened to pull out of children in need, without indicating, obviously. It was a mixed day for prostitutes, turning to page 11 of the Daily Mirror. First, there was the Clarkson incident, but at least there was the possibility of compensation. Round 3 now is the connection round. One question for you all. What do these 3 have in common? Michael Ball, Conservative Director of Policy and Research James O'Shaughnessy, and a road sign in Wales.
The road sign in Wales came up about a week ago because the top half there says something like no entry to heavy goods vehicles, and underneath is meant to be the Welsh translation of the above English sentence. But the Welsh words actually say, I'm sorry, I'm not here at the moment. If you've got any translations for me, leave them after the tone on my answer machine. And that got somehow an email containing those words got sent to the people that make the road sign. So in Welsh it says, I'm not here at the moment, but kindly leave a message for me after the tone.
Does anyone know of any other mistranslations in Wales?
Welcome to Swansea.
According to the Times, in Cardiff, a pedestrian sign said, look right in English and look left in Welsh.
I have to tiptoe around Welsh road signs. I once got into trouble on Radio Wales, claiming the reason I was late for the show is because of the road signs in Wales on the way to the studio. And I said it was absurd that road signs in Wales were in Welsh and English because actually only something like 5% of the Welsh population can actually speak Welsh. And after the broadcast, the station manager came up to me and said, one of our listeners has taken a bit of an exception to your remarks about the Welsh language, and he's come down to the studio to have it out with you, like. I said, well, you better show me out the back way. Oh, no, there is no back way, Mr Young. You'll have to face the music.
The connection is email errors. This week, Radio 2 presenter Michael Ball introduced an email from a listener with the words, someone's written in, it's from Helvetica Bold. He then went on to say, what a great name, Helvetica Bold. Have you ever heard of that one? No, Michael, because it's the font in which the email was written, you knobhead.
Is it such a terrible mistake?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what Helvetica.
Helvetica Bold.
Helvetica, that could easily been the name of a black woman named her child.
Now, let's play a game. I'll tell you a name, and you have to say whether it's a real name or a font name.
OK.
Poor Richard.
Never heard of it, so I say it's made up. It's not font.
You're as thick as Michael Ball, because it's a font. OK?
Fair enough.
I'm starting to think you take fonts a little too seriously. I'm just saying, I respect you and everything.
You know what, I do. I do. Maybe I could have some CBT. That's cognitive behavioural therapy.
Oh, OK.
For my font obsession.
OK, all right, man. You just make both of us look dumb as hell.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to it.
Here's your chance to redeem yourself,
OK.
Reg. Ready? Baskerville Old Face.
Yeah, that's definitely a...
That's a font, man. I'm on to you now.
Yeah, that's definitely a font.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, man. I use that all the time, man.
That's a person. No, it isn't. I'm sorry, no, it isn't. It isn't. I just wanted to see your face.
Oh. Joe Brand, you're a very crafty woman.
It's a font.
It is
It's a font. OK. Now, there's only one more left, so you two will have to do it together. Ready? Randy Bumgardner.
Isn't that a leprechaun? That's what they print the Daily Mail in, isn't it?
Font or name?
Name.
It is indeed. It's a name. And furthermore, he works in the White House, so he's topical and not just a silly name written into the script for no reason.
What's his job in the White House? Is he in charge of
I don't really
fonts?
like to say.
I mean, if he comes over to Britain, he'll come over to Britain and he'll be wondering why everybody be laughing at him all of a sudden. All my life I've been named Randy Baumgartner. Ain't nobody laughing at me. As soon as I left Heathrow, even the taxi driver was pissing himself, man.
I think Obama should make him a special envoy to London. The Washington.
You can see Obama going, look at him going to London.
The connection is email errors. Radio 2 presenter Michael Ball read out an email which he credited to listener Helvetica Bold. Still, not quite the worst thing a Radio 2 presenter's got up to of late. Incidentally, I should point out that despite my surname, I'm no relation to Russell Brand, although I have shagged his granddad. The next day, Michael Ball apologised for his ignorance and thanked a number of listeners for pointing it out to him, including Mrs. Ariel Black, Mr. Franklin Gothic Heavy, and the entire family of dingbats. Another email error this week was the leaked memo from Tory Director of Policy and Research James O'Shaughnessy. The email urges Conservatives to announce more policies, adding they don't necessarily need to be brand new. Hence Oliver Letwin's surprising outburst on Newsnight calling for the repeal of the Corn Laws and an end to the war with Prussia. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication the Guantanamo Bay Gazette. There's a Braille edition, just in case you're forced to wear a hood. And we start with excitement as Pinky and Perky what?
We turn to our screens in the form of computer animation.
Make TV come back.
Make TV
well
come back,
done.
yeah. How many people here remember Pinky and Perky? Probably not many. Yeah.
What is Pinky?
They were like Ant and Dec.
Yeah.
They were little pigs.
They were little puppet pigs that used to mime the hits of the day.
So like Pinky and Perky making a comeback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the headline suggested.
But since they are fake, they do not truly exist.
Now, don't be silly, Reg.
There's no such thing as leprechauns, but don't question the integrity of Pinky and Perky. They won the war for us.
I go through long stretches on the show not knowing what the anybody talking about.
I've been on a stretch like that since 1992.
And finally, the Guantanamo Bay School of Dance needs what?
New title. Very Strictly Come Dancing.
No, it was instructors. According to the Guantanamo Bay Gazette, the Guantanamo School of Dance specialises in ballet, tap, jazz and hip-hop. Or if you're into body popping, try Cell Block B. So, the final scores are Ian and Toby have 5, but Paul and Reg have 7.
7. Well done.
In your face, man! Yeah, boy.
A dignified response, I feel.
Do you think Obama was doing that as soon as he got behind the screens of that stage?
John McCain.
You know what? He wasn't like that publicly, but I'm pretty sure when he got alone that night with Michelle, they was laying in bed, and he said, "Hey, baby, guess what?" And she said, "What?" And he said, "I beat that cracker's ass."
How would you like to have sex with the President of the United States? Bill Clinton's here.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Toby have this.
How about it falls upon me to congratulate you, Osama?
Who am I?
Now, which one's Pinky and which one's Perky?
And Paul and Reg, you get this.
Magnetic toe caps attracted to lampposts.
He was the last dude who was rejected from being in Rent, and he wanted to show the world that he deserved to be in Rent, and he figured that the best way to do that was to go to Hampstead Heath and jump across the street with his legs outstretched, showing the producers of Rent that they are fools.
Thanks for that novel. On which note we say thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and Toby Young, Paul Merton and Reginald D. Hunter. And I leave you with the news that as the runners line up for the Grand National, there are different levels of optimism about getting over Beecher's Brook. Following a spate of burglaries at celebrity homes, Elton John increases his domestic security with the purchase of 2 guard dogs. And there's a surprise for the staff at the Windsor branch of Specsavers when they launch their buy one, get one free deal for pensioners. Good night.
If you're not familiar with the name, you will know some of the hit TV comedies he produced, like Spitting Image, Father Ted and Catherine Tate. Comedy Connections pays tribute to Geoffrey Perkins, next on BBC Two.
Randy Bumgardner, yeah.
We do this as like
He's phoned up, he's complaining.
Because we know what he is, what he was now, so...
OK.
Brandon Bumgardner is general manager of the President's Guest House. So it's just a throwaway to...
A legal requirement, in case Mr Randy Bumgardner sues.
It's a good bit of information, actually.
Yeah.
Randy Bumgardner is general manager at the President's